Okay, fam, I think I have the answers now, and I need to give you some pre-information. My ego and my psyche does not require you to believe anything that I'm saying. I have been on a fucking odyssey from hell, and it's about our family line. And there are things that are contained in here, like there are two timelines. You do or don't have to believe that. That part doesn't matter to me because I've had the experience, but I also, you're my family, and I would not share this with you. We have all known that there was a secret about Harvey's birth. And I think we've all known it's a dark secret because I think we've all gone down the path of trying to figure out who our grandfather is. So Leah was, I don't know my grandfather's name, her dad's name. I don't know her dad's name, but I know his last name was Martz. And Vic and I used to, when we were young, talk about being the Martz Tarts. It was always a joke. I don't know what happened to her mom, but her dad remarried, and there was two sisters, maybe three, and Grandma Best. We've never understood the mystery of who my grandfather was. In one of the communications from one of the sisters that I sent on to Mars at some point, she said it was a secret that wouldn't be shared. I've been given a history lesson through possession of what happened with Daddy. Sometimes I call him Harvey, sometimes I call him Daddy. I've always known that I was not part of the original three. I've always known I was separate from Candy, Vicky, Rob. Mom told me when I was a teenager, I got pregnant and I had an abortion. Mom told me then that she also had an abortion, so she could understand what I was going through. That's important here because somewhere in this whole shit show of a legacy, there is a thing. I know the Bible says that you have to be willing to sacrifice one of the characters had to be willing to sacrifice his kid. I am finding that as I'm discovering along the way, firstborn children were sacrificed. Mine was terminated, right? I know she had a pregnancy that was terminated. I don't know how that has carried through the family. I don't have any idea. I know in Rob's family, Heather and I are on the outs, and I've seen Heather. I was in Vegas. I was driving down the street in Vegas, and there are these things that come up historically, and I've seen her walking the streets in Vegas, smoking a cigarette. It's very, very Heather behavior. So I don't think Rob and Nina did that, but I think Heather is the firstborn. Not easy to hear, not easy to say, but I'm here to present facts, which is a crazy thing because none of this sounds like facts. This is the story as I understand it. The first scary movie I saw as a kid was a movie called The 13 Ghosts, and I wrote about that, and there's a blog on my website, Exploration Realized, about that. I'm not going to recover that here. The first movie I took Morgan to that was scary, and looking back, I can't believe I did it, but there's a reason for these things. The first movie I took her to was Spawn. And Daddy was literally demon spawn. He is a child of incest. Now, was his biological father a demon? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that the biological father had a demon in him. The demon's name is Silas. I do know that. In the movie The 13 Ghosts, the father's name is Cyrus. I'm not sure if there's bleed over there. I don't have any idea, but I do notice that those names are close, but not quite the same. I had evidence of Daddy like on road trips, talking to himself, whispering, talking. I thought he was working out business problems. I had exposure both here and in the dimension we can't see. And in that, he was, I thought he was a golem. And then later I said, no, I think he's an amalgam. I think he had multiple personality disorder all along. Multiple personality disorder can be just a fuck ton of demons inside your body. That was my experience in looking at the history, that what I said in the thing was that he was willing to shove anything up his ass, because that's the demon's preferred entry route. He was willing to shove anything up his ass to win in this battle against, well, me. Other things that I don't know if you know, when I was 15 years old, I had an appendectomy. And he and I had words. And he came and stood over me with his hand like this, and he said, do you want to say that again? And I looked at him dead in the face, and I said, oh man, I don't fucking stutter. And he backhanded me, and I punched him right in the face with a right cross. I think all of my relationships with him stems from being a fuck you. And I think if any of you know me, you know I'm absolutely a fuck you. Go fuck yourself, right? I don't think I've posted about this, but I've also had an episode with a thing called cowbirds. And I think cowbirds might be your kids. So when cowbirds lay eggs, they're lazy. And they lay their eggs in a cardinal nest. And cardinals raise the bird from hatching until they realize that's not their bird. And then they kick the bird out of the nest. Now that said, both times when that happened, I want to say the first time when that happened, it was very clear because cardinals were swooping me in my yard at home. And there was these cats that were getting ready to prey on this baby bird. And the cardinals were swooping me, and they got my attention. And I went over to the yard, and I saw this little baby bird. And I picked up the bird, and I took it home. And then I raised the bird. I called her Beastly. and I raised her as far as I could at home. That concept, and it happened twice, that concept happening to me twice was important. It was really, really important. So the one thing that I have understood is that as we have been reincarnated, this is how I'm going to say it. I don't like scrambled eggs. I've never liked scrambled eggs. I'm a sunny side up girl. They have scrambled the eggs in between where they are based on some belief system. I know in the case of Summer, Mom has always had a heart and had her eye on Summer, and I fucked up and I sent Summer Mom's rings. Mom gave them to me and told me not to lose them, which was a weird thing for her to say. And when I got tired of being bound by them, I thought, oh, Summer will love having these. She loves having family stuff, so I sent those rings to Summer. And then I sent Summer a thing later that said, shed everything, get rid of everything. I think the idea that less is more is important here, so you can do your own discoveries and what have yous. I know this planet is hell. I know we came here to shed things. I know we came here to be shed by some others. And in some cases, we were here to be sacrificed. So I don't know what else to tell you other than that. I know it sounds cuckoo Cocoa Puffs, but that's all I can tell you. I got all this for a reason, but I'm also feel like the one that would try and protect you guys. So that's why this fell to me, because I'm the go fuck yourself girl. I love all of you to the moon and back. I hope you can figure this out. I hope you're meant to.